I received a fun request through my website this week, and I'm going to read it to you in part. This is from Eric. He says he's 45 years old, describes himself as an athletic sort of guy, but he likes to watch cooking videos, and he's seen all of my bread videos. And he writes, "My mom used to make persimmon bread. Can you please give me advice on how to do this? I will donate $100 if a video comes out. Thank you and good work." I have a donate button on my website. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to make persimmon bread. But first I want to discuss something about persimmons. I have some persimmons here. There are two kinds I see commonly in the store here in Southern California. These, I'm going to have to put the name down there for you if I'm pronouncing this correctly, Hakia or Hachia. I call these California persimmons. And how they're shaped, they're kind of this longer shape this way. There are squatter, rounder persimmons. Those are always crisp. They're more like apples. The important thing about these is you have to buy them when they're really, 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 really ripe. They're more like liquid. You drink them more than you do eat them. And when you see them in the store when they're this ripe, you're going to think, oh, that's overripe, it's no good. No, that's when it's perfect. If you've ever bitten into an unripe persimmon, you'll know what I'm talking about. You get this sensation in your mouth as if you've put a handful of talcum powder in your mouth. Your mouth goes dry, it's prickly, it's bitter. That's the tannins in persimmons. I'll put that down there for you. Tannins. Tannins are great when you're making wine, but you don't want a mouthful of tannin when you're biting into fruit. So by waiting for it to get really ripe like this, then you get rid of that sensation. It's sweet, it's mild, it's delicious. That's how to get properly ripe persimmons. If they're not ripe, if they have any kind of firmness to them, let them sit for a while, as long as it takes for them to get completely soft all over so that they feel like they've gone rotten inside, but they haven't. They're ripe. So let's make persimmon bread. I need about a cup of persimmon pulp here, which I know by volume is 237 milliliters, but I'm going to have to weigh it. That's why I have my scale set up over here, so I can give you the weight in ounces and grams if that's how you do things. So I want to open this up, take out this core section. I don't know if there's a right way or a wrong way to do this, but this is how I'm going to do it. Look how soft that is inside. And then working along the skin here, I'm going to try to get as much of this pulp out as I can. And get it into this 1 cup container. So that's going to take me a while to clean up this skin and get as much of this pulp to fill that 1 cup up, and then I'll weigh it for you. So there I've got 1 cup of persimmon pulp. And that comes in at just 9 ounces. 9 ounces is 255 grams. In my videos, I sometimes try to do things in very different ways, because not everybody has a KitchenAid stand mixer. I do, but I don't always use it. Sometimes I mix ingredients with a fork or a spoon or a whisk. Sometimes I get inventive. I bought this thing. This is a mixer blade thingy. Got this at a thrift store. I bought it so long ago I can't even remember what I paid for it. It was like 10 cents or 15 cents, maybe 25 cents. I doubt I paid 50 cents for this at that particular thrift store. And I have this. A drill. It works. I can put these two together and make a mixer if I have to, because I don't have a hand mixer. Be inventive, be creative. There's more than one way to mix ingredients. Now in a large bowl, I'm going to mix together 3/4 of a cup, which is 177 milliliters of vegetable oil. I'm using corn oil. You can use canola oil. I wouldn't use olive oil. It has too strong of a flavor. And then I have here 1 1/2 cups, which is about 300 grams of granulated sugar. I'm going to put in here 2 large eggs. And then this is my persimmon pulp. Okay, I'm going to mix this up. Mostly what I'm interested in is breaking up that pulp. All right, I'm happy with that. Some lumps are okay. I just don't want really big lumps in there. So now I'm ready to move on to my dry ingredients. So moving on to my dry ingredients. Oh, and if you're wondering what this pad is for, it prevents slipping, but I also don't like this, that noise. I do that, it's quiet. Okay, so what I have here is 1 3/4 of a cup, which is 8 3/4 ounces, 248 grams of all-purpose flour. And then I have half a teaspoon of baking powder, a full teaspoon, 1 teaspoon of baking soda. And then I'm using some herbs here, some spices. This is 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg, 1/2 teaspoon of ground clove, 1/2 teaspoon of allspice, and then 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, and then finally 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And I need to mix all that together. I'm going to use a whisk for this. Returning back to now my wet ingredients. I'm going to put my flour mixture in there. And then what I have here is 1/2 cup of chopped walnuts. It's going to be, the weight on this is going to be between 50 to say 57 grams, depending upon how, that's my oven coming up to temperature, which reminds me, in the meantime, I have been heating my oven up to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about 177 degrees Celsius. So the weight on the walnuts in grams is going to range between say 50 to 57 grams. And then I have 1/2 cup of coarsely chopped dates, 57 to 71 grams by weight, depending upon how coarsely you chop them. And now I'm going to mix all this up to make a batter. There is my batter. I have 2 bread pans prepared. I've greased them and I've dusted them with flour. And I'm going to divide the batter evenly between these 2 pans. This is going to make kind of a flat loaf, I think, rather than a nice high loaf with a round muffin top. So there are my 2 loaf pans now ready to go into the oven. I'm going to bake these for 1 hour. When they're done, a toothpick inserted into the center should come out clean. I always do things by temperature. I have a thermometer here. I'm going to be looking for an internal temperature of close to 200 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about 93 degrees Celsius. When it reaches that temperature, I know the bread is done. Here they are now, out of the oven. And they look beautiful. I took these out of the oven after 45 minutes because they were already up to over 200 degrees. The recipe that I'm working from says 1 hour or until done. The or until done applies here. I'm going to let these cool thoroughly, and meanwhile I'm going to make a trip to the store because I know exactly how I want to eat these. My bread has cooled now. And I'm going to show you how I like to eat bread like this. It is a bit on the flat side. I'm not sure whether I like it that way or not, but I know it's going to taste good. And how I like to eat bread like this is with cream cheese on it rather than butter. Spread some cream cheese on there. And that to me is a delicious way to eat a quick bread like this. There it is. Got to see what this tastes like. This is the first time I've ever made persimmon bread. It's delicious. Oh wow, that is good. It's sweet. It's very moist and tender. That is a really nicely flavored bread. So excuse me, I'm going to go enjoy my persimmon bread. For a printable PDF copy of this recipe with step-by-step photographs, visit my website, mobilehomegourmet.com, and look on the home page or in the recipe archive.